Welcome to Orange County Power Players, where we spotlight the personal, professional, and financial success stories of OC's top leaders. Here's your host, Danny Flores.
Welcome back to OC Power Players, where I interview some of the most successful people in Orange County. I'm Danny Flores, your host, and today's honored guest is Kathy Hadizadeh, zooming in from Los Angeles. Kathy is a visionary founder behind Heart Mind Tuning, a prominent coaching and advisory agency with a global reach from its headquarters in Los Angeles. She champions the transformative impact of heart-centered leadership, positivity, and mindfulness practices on the journey of leaders and executives, building on a 15-year tenure in the corporate world as a tech executive with several Fortune 100 and 500 companies. She has garnered a wealth of knowledge in corporate dynamics. Her profound understanding of corporate needs and structures, combined with her dedication to reflective and mindfulness practices, has culminated in her trademark Pause to Rise methods that she offers her clients and corporations. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Danny.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got there.
For sure. Well, what do? I help people get from point A to point B. And it's interesting because I work with a lot of power players and high achievers. What happens in this day and age that it has a lot of noise, the point A is being overwhelmed, being exhausted, being in kind of a doubt of how am I doing, and the point B becoming somebody who is impactful, knows about their influence, and can follow the path that they are on with courage of conviction.
So now these are power players, you said. They come to you and they're overwhelmed, I assume, with everything they have to do, all the responsibility they have.
Right.
And what's your objective when you're done with them, or maybe you're never done, but when you've made progress, what's the outcome of that? And this is really interesting because we get bombarded so much, so fast with the work and all the information that rotates around us.
Absolutely. So look at this. You are right. A lot of these people are overwhelmed, not just because of their work, but there is the life aspect. And there's also all the noise around us with AI booming, with whatever is happening in our country right now. There is a lot. I mean, we are humans, right? So
Right.
there's a
Yeah.
lot that is happening in our world. And it can lead to chaos in the mind. It can lead to overwhelm. And what you're asking me, if they ever leave or if they do not leave or whatever it is this feeling of connecting with some sense of inner peace, that they are able to have a compass internally, that whenever the sense of overwhelm happens, they have a place to go to inside themselves. That place is nowhere outside. And that's a really big key here, Danny, because a lot of the power players and high achievers are always looking for that next big step outside of themselves. And what I'm helping them to achieve and gain is find that peace internally, that fulfillment internally, rather than looking for the next step and next step and next step, which is a never ending ride.
Yeah, that's so interesting because when you talk to these high achievers, they really don't have to continue achieving. They're like at a level where they can live comfortable. But many don't quit because of the excitement that the next deal brings. Now, are you saying that as they become or learn to cope or become calm, does that, I guess, that ambition subside, or does
No.
it continue in a different way?
We are not, I mean, a lot of people think that, that calmness and being able to still the mind it means that you're going to lose your ambitions in life. In contrast, this is absolutely contrary to the fact that when you're able to quiet the mind, you're able to see clearly what that ambition is. And that's the clarity that a lot of these people are missing, because you're right, they are at the top of their game. But the thing is, we get addicted to dopamine in our brain. It feels good to be recognized. Right. It feels good to get promoted. It feels good to make another deal. It just are just part of human nature that you want to feel good. But what is not good is the addiction piece. That is the interesting thing. So you can have ambition, but you can be clear about where is my ambition? Is the ambition pulling me, or is it me mastering my ambition? They are very different things. You can be ambitious and you can put your energy towards something that is helping more folks in the world, or you can be ambitious and you can put your energy towards just the next level in a way that is not even connected to your heart. Some people are so on autopilot that they do not even question, is this still the right thing for me at this stage of my life, at this stage of my game? I help people to get clarity on what is right for them at different stages of your life. Danny, look at your life. Do you want the same thing that you wanted when you were 20?
Oh, no. It's totally different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me see. So let me ask. So when this change happens, how does their life change?
Aha. I love this question.
Right.
And I am writing a book, so I'm inviting everybody on your show that is listening to pre-order the book, because we're going to go deeper in that question, because question has been fundamental into my changing into what I'm doing, because I was a corporate executive. I was a corporate tech executive, and then I came and founded this agency in a totally different path. Now, to answer your question, is that when you are a high achieving person, you are driven based on your achievement. You're driven based on success. And these all feel good. Now, I'm going to look at the happiness. Then your happiness will be tied to these achievements and success. But the thing is that these achievements and success, they have a very quick expiration date, because the moment that you get that promotion and people start congratulating you and you post it on LinkedIn and 1 million people say, oh my God, you're amazing, you're the best leader in the world, people will benefit from having a leader like you, and people bombard you with these all feel good things. Well, that happens, like, you know what, for a week or two, and then what are you left with? You are left with maybe a bigger paycheck, maybe a bigger bonus, maybe a bigger equity, and a lot more work, and the same story in a way. So are you still happy? That's a big question. What I help the transformation, the transformation that I help people to look into is that how we can change into this equation to move from achievement and success into fulfillment in our life and leadership. So we have access to more of that happiness and probably joy in a more sustainable basis. Because as Buddha said, what are we living for? We are living for experiencing happiness. Right? That's the ultimate. Everybody at the end of having all the monies and the cars and the houses in the world, we want to feel happy.
Right.
And if we are in the wrong direction or the wrong mindset to achieve that happiness, isn't it worth goal to stop at one point and course correct ourselves?
Oh, no, for sure. Absolutely. And I think sometimes we need outside help to be able to see those and get that course correction.
Well, if they could do it themselves, they would have done it by now. That's what I always tell people when they come and we have a strategy session. People are like, oh my God, Kathy, you're right. And they're having all these light bulbs going on and they feel like, oh my God, I hit a jackpot. Now I know what what I can go and do. And I would ask them, well, if you could do it, you would have done it by now. So there is something
That's true.
fundamental happening that needs to be shifted inside you. And
Right.
that's something that people cannot find it on their own. That's where people like me coming into the game.
So here's a question. If you're a high achiever and you're
Mhm.
just going by your week, going by your month, doing what you do, what's the trigger that gets them to realize that they need to come speak to you?
Okay, so this is the tricky part, and it has changed a lot since
Uh-huh.
pandemic, because
Right.
pandemic kind of forced people to look inside themselves a lot. I mean,
Yes.
it really
Yes.
forced.
Hmm.
Maybe not so much in Orange County because Orange County was very different from Los Angeles, even in
Yeah,
pandemic.
that's true.
So I mean, people might have different takes, but to answer your question, the important thing is people do not always get that alarm to come and seek help, or they do not know how to
Mhm.
even seek help because
Right.
like me in 2014 and 15 when I was in my corporate days, I knew I had to change something, and I had known it since 2007 when my first child was born. But between ambition and being busy and being a mother and being a lot of other things, I didn't know how to change this equation. And I
Right.
didn't know anything about coaching at that time, frankly. So a lot of people, the chances are they do not know what to do. Even if they question themselves, they don't know what to do with that question. So your show is, I think, helping at least people to have an idea of where to find help, something that I
Right.
did not know at that time. And that's something that I think pandemic has helped. Now more people know about coaching and getting
Right.
get paying attention to these existential
Right.
questions about their life and their leadership. Now, most people think about it when they have a crisis,
Right.
when they are having that heart attack, or when they have a cancer diagnosis, or when their child is not talking to them anymore and doesn't want to see them anymore, or when their child has gone to college and they all of a sudden feel like, oh my God, life is so empty. What am I working for all the time? You see, people will be shaken at those times and try to find a solution. But personally, what is important for me in my work is to make sure people know about this and this work, so they are not looking for help when they are in the crisis, that they
Right.
can be proactive about it without going through that hard journey. I went through a hard journey in my life to discover these things, and that's why I wrote my vision for this work, because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through, and many people go through that journey. So
Right.
help high achievers not to start thinking about wanting to make change, asking questions, and becoming more available to themselves, and start avoiding the existential questions by letting them know about this kind of work, this kind of path.
Yes. And I think a lot of times high achievers got there because they have coaches, they read books, they have they get help. So perhaps inserting you or someone like you as part of their team that guides them would be a good idea. And I think before you have that signal, in other words, you don't want to put gas in your car when it runs out of gas. You want to be proactive and put gas in your car before it runs out of gas. Same thing for them and ourselves. All of us is being able to maintain and be able to do it before you really need it, so that you have the tools that you need when those tough times come.
You are making a point here that I want to elaborate on. There are coaches for different purposes,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So I am happy to hear that you feel like there are more people taking advantage of coaching, which is, I work with a lot of people in product and tech and engineering, And no, not all people are taking advantage of coaching. Some of them, it is given to them by their companies, which I love about that. But that is more of leadership development. And leadership development has its own path. But when we go into transformational coaching, we are bringing other aspects into it. And what I bring to my people, and what I think is a unique combination, is that I come from that world, so I have the experience and the know-how of that world, so I have the advisory piece in me. And also I have a background in integral and transformational coaching. And when I put the two together, that's where I make the secret sauce and my own
Right.
version of what can be very unique. That's how I trademarked my methodology, Pause to Rise, and that's how I have come with a systematic approach, which is leadership. So when people are working with different coaches, that is fantastic, but you have to see how far they can take you and in what kind of journey. There are coaches for a lot of different things. There are coaches who are specific for getting you into a FANG interview, people who want to go work for FANG companies, people who help you with interview, people who help you with your career. So there are different umbrellas of coaching. I want to invite people, even if they have coaches, to look into, are they still in line with where I want to go next? Because sometimes we stay with people out of comfort. A lot of times, yeah, you said that maybe people stay with you or they go places. A lot of times, even if the person is renewing with me for the third or fourth time, I say, go out there and see who else is out there.
Right.
Get a fresh perspective. You know, a lot of people, marketing people, they tell me, why don't you keep your people? One, because I think they have to take advantage of other perspectives. And if they still feel I'm the right person, they can always come back and we can have a chat.
Right.
And second is that because the same way that I am new to them, they are new to me. And every single person is a new journey. And I personally enjoy new journeys. I don't want to explore the old journeys forever and a day in my life.
Right.
Maybe marketing wise is not the best decision, but I think about my own joy and my own impact in this lifetime too. So I encourage people to, even if they have coaching, examine it. See, are you there still out of comfort, or are you still there because you are getting the value to move forward? That's the biggest difference between therapy and coaching that people do not understand. That in therapy, you can stay in therapy for as long as it is necessary. Nobody is asking you, oh, are you done yet? Are you done yet? There is no done yet in therapy. You take as much time as you need to. But in coaching, we have a different approach. We look into the past to learn from the past so we can come back to the present, so we can plan how we can move forward with that learning, so we can build the future. We lean into the future. And that's the beauty of coaching. Coaching is about movement. It's about going somewhere. We don't know where. For a lot of my people, it can be promotion, it can be leveling up, it can be more fulfillment, it can be leveling legacy. You have to examine, where are you with your coaches, with your coaching journey.
Interesting. That's great that our audience gets to listen to this, because sometimes they might not know what to do or what to try, and perhaps this is something that they can seek out, and like you said, try it. Right, try it to see if it improves, if it gives you what you're looking for, or maybe it gives you a new direction at the same time to make yourself a better person, a better performer, and happier too. So that is great. Now, looks like you made a successful change from corporate world to the coaching world. What has been one of your biggest challenges in making that jump?
Oh my God, where do we begin, Danny?
I know it's a trick question, but
Well, one of the biggest things was my ego. And I think a lot of people who are listening to me, they probably have good size egos too. So imagine I have a couple of masters in engineering and management, and I had a tech executive job with a good prospect, good outlook, everything, and I had
Mhm.
worked hard for 15 years to get there. And now all of a sudden, after the health challenge that I had that made me realize about coaching and mindfulness and a lot of other things, I am going into a different direction. And we are talking about 2016, 17, when I was in that space, which coaching was not on the map that much at that time. And one of the things was that when I told people about my decision that I want to start this agency and I want to go do this, I can tell you a lot of people were like, "You are going to do what?" And they were like, "Are you okay?" Well, it was a blow to my ego, to be honest with you. That was one of the
Mhm.
biggest things. Like when I started to coach my practice clients for my coaching certification in school, because they wanted you to have practice clients, which is necessary. I was
Right.
charging $40 a session. You cannot even buy a decent burger nowadays in California with a
Yeah.
$40,
Yes.
right? So let's
Yeah.
be honest here. That's where I started. Can you imagine what kind of a blow it is to make a big income and then humble yourself to say, I don't know how this thing works. I don't know what kind of a result I can get for people. I don't feel comfortable to hang a shingle, because coaching is an unregulated industry. So the barriers to entry is people think it's pretty low. So my ego was really being really challenged, that Danny, I have to say. I went
Uh,
through quite a journey with that.
yeah, but it takes a lot of heart and perseverance to make that jump. Like you said, you were making a high salary, and all of a sudden you had to really dip yourself down to almost nothing and start building. But you were building something for yourself, one, and you were being able, you're giving back and helping people. So I would imagine that the feeling is so much gratitude and fulfilling for you, more so now than your previous career. Is that the case?
Yeah, there is a lot of truth in what you said. And frankly, at that time, I was dealing with a health challenge, and it was very interesting. One of the class, there was a mindfulness teacher who offered me to go to her class, and her class was mindful aging. And Mitra Manesh, I really like that teacher, and in that class everybody was at least 30, 35 years older than me, so they had a different perspective of life. But
Right.
at that time, because of my health situation, I had challenges that was like their challenges they were facing. So
Mhm.
they were looking at me like a very interesting category of human. And then the thing was that one day she came and said, well, we're going to do an exercise, which is I want you to imagine that you are gone, and what are people saying about you? What is the obituary that people are reading to you? And Danny, I just wrote pages and pages imagining what I want people to say about me, what I want to be my legacy and impact in this world. And I still have those pages. And when I finished it, I was like, I don't know how am I going to make this, but this is what I want to make. And then later on, when I was contemplating, shall I go back to my corporate life or shall I explore, entertain this new path? I was like, part of it is that impact, and part of it is that I want to design my life differently. And this is something I want to invite your listeners to pay attention to, because sometimes we go with the flow of our lives because of what we are told by our parents or expectations of the
Right.
society, or the wife or husband or partner, or I don't know,
Right.
grandmother wish at the deathbed, or whatever the case is.
Right.
And we just go with something to make something happen of ourselves, and then we forget that we want to design a life that is in line with us. And then one of the things that came out of my journey on my injury was that I want to design my life differently. I want to be able to have more control and agency over what work I do, where do I put my time, how do I
Mhm.
spend my vacation, how much vacation do I go to, and how much
Right.
time do I have for my kids, all of those things. And I worked with a coach at that time to design all of these things. And I didn't know how to make these things happen, Danny. I didn't know any of that. But one thing was clear. I had a desire, and I was getting clarity on what is it that I want. And
That's very interesting because we get one shot at life, literally. There is no do-over. Tomorrow is gone. I mean, I'm sorry, yesterday's gone. We get to write a new chapter or a new page today and tomorrow, the week after, the year after. And I don't know if everybody knows how to design their life. So that's interesting that you said you actually, and I imagine it was a coach, life coach that you may have hired to help you figure this out.
um, yeah, it was a combination of somebody who had, it was a combination of pursuing the mindfulness journey and having a coach. So I brought the two together because I went very deep into the Zen. I had gone to India in 2000, no, in 1996, in pursuit of happiness. So I was very young at that time. This journey of happiness started in me very young. So I went to India at that time to see what is this happiness? What makes people happy? And I started to, like learning about Zen and the Zen mind. And then I came to the capitalist country of America, and obviously I went to the corporate America, and a lot of the thinking took a backstage, in a way. But when I hired that coach, and you're right, she was leaning more towards life coaching, and but at the same time, I went through the path of mindfulness and thinking and quieting the mind too. So I went to both sides of the game to
Mhm.
be able to design this thing, because there is some fundamentals you have to change about yourself. And in my case was that I was very driven, I was very fast, I really valued speed in my life. I was very proud of a speed. I'm thinking a lot of people can relate to that,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right? You even talking fast or walking fast,
Right.
all of
Right.
those things were my trademarks at the time. And then um, the mindfulness journey reminded me of the Zen teachings, and I started connecting with that slowing down. And what does it mean? And what does it mean to have pauses? What does it mean that pause can be productive? What does it mean that pause can help me um, speed up in a different way? So I had to make a very big transformation. To answer your question, I pursued these paths parallel to be able to design this journey differently, that we call it life.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive on being able to figure it out and reconstruct your life so that you're happy and you're making the impact that you want to make. So your entrepreneurial journey into coaching and helping people and changing other people's lives seems like it's going well. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, as entrepreneurs, um, you want to build a business that gives back or makes an impact and is
Hmm.
successful. But also entrepreneurs also think about other ways to supplement their income, other ways to
Mm-hmm.
create stability for retirement,
Mm-hmm.
maybe passively investing in type of investments. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Absolutely. I mean, being an entrepreneur, you don't get a 401k from anybody. You don't get a 401k match. Nobody gives you health insurance.
Right,
Nobody gives
right.
you equity. You can just build equity in your own company. But yeah, it's a very different journey. And the thing is, with the coaching and advisory route, I think at that time, I was thinking I'm gonna be doing these things, and that's gonna be it. But it's not like that. I'm on your podcast, obviously. I have been on what 50, 60 podcasts just in 2020, 2024.
Uh,
So, and I'm speaking in Portugal in June. I'm speaking in another conference in, I don't know, end of March. So I had to diversify a lot of me in different directions,
mhm,
um,
mhm,
like a little octopus or maybe a big octopus. Octopuses
mhm,
are smart, so I like that analogy.
mhm.
So I had to do that, and also I had to think about some of the things that you say, the equation of money differently.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the things that people my entrepreneurs have to look at it. How do I look at money and abundance differently than my corporate days? I had to go and explore my relationship with money. Because sometimes you have to invest on marketing or on book or things like that. That with
Right,
any
right.
rational mind will be like, oh my God, what are you doing,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
have to think about that equation
Mhm.
differently to be able to keep yourself afloat and be able to move further and build that passive income in a different way. So yes, I am moving towards those things. Look, the key piece being is a work in progress. I'm still
Right, right.
figuring a lot of things out, but it's definitely a different equation than my corporate thinking days that I had to work on.
Right, right, right. I think that's for all entrepreneurs. It's totally different. Now, as we wrap up our interview, we have a new year ahead of us. What does 2025 look like for you?
The biggest thing into 2025 is that my book is coming out this summer. We have the pre-launch going, so if folks are interested, please order your copy. And I'll try to keep the people who have ordered the copy updated on the progress of the book to the best that I can. Right now, I'm on a very big deadline with the manuscript and all of that. So that's a very exciting piece for me. And the other exciting thing is that for the first time, I'm speaking internationally. And some of the people that I'm speaking along with them, I can pinch myself, to be honest with you, because I have been following their journey and their thinking for years, and now being able to see them in the conference that I'm a speaker and they are a speaker. Hey, pinch me kind of situation.
Right, right.
So yeah, there is a lot of exciting things happening, but at the same time, I my view of the world is interesting at this time because of all the changes that we are experiencing. And I come from a country, Iran, that has undergone a big journey. Um, if we look at historically,
Mhm,
and I I'm a proponent of science and engineering, and I think science and engineering are very important aspects of life. So
mhm.
seeing that the budgets for science is being slashed at National Science Foundation, that hurts me. So there are things that I'm trying to look into that I didn't plan for it for 2025, but I'm
Yeah.
actively looking into what can this entity, this heart mind tuning do to help at this time, even if it is very limited. I want to I don't want to just close my eyes and say, oh my God, it's happening, or whatever the
Mhm,
feelings
mhm.
are, because
Right, right.
different people have different feelings. But one thing is close to my heart, which is science is important for humans. That is important. I don't think anybody can argue with that piece. And like, for example, I'm trying to see the CEO of National Science Foundation. He had a podcast interview, I think 2-3 weeks ago, about how he's trying to change the vision of National Science Foundation with all of the budget cuts and slashes and the decision to lay off scientists. And he had an interesting view. He said, well, scientists have to speak up more about their work. And a lot of scientists are not the people who want to speak up. Their personalities are different. So I sat down and thought with myself, and I thought, how can I help with this equation? So I have a post that is going on in 2-3 days on LinkedIn to encourage scientists. If that is not your suit, let's get together and see how we can make it part of your suit, or designate somebody in your team or organization who can carry the torch of bringing light into what is it that you do with your knowledge, with your background, because it takes a lot of years and effort to get a PhD in something, anything.
Right. No, that's great, and that's great that you have that insight. Now, you mentioned your book. Let's tell everybody what the title of your book is so they can find it and how they can pre-order it.
Absolutely. I would love that. The title of the book is Pause to Rise. And it is Stop, Breathe, Thrive, the modern day guide for leadership fulfillment without the never-ending hustle. And I can give you a link that you can share with your audience, that they can pre-order the book from that link at this time.
All right, perfect. That's go.heartmindtuning.com. Once again, that's go.heartmindtuning.com for everybody who's listening. And Kathy, thanks so much for all your insight and what you have shared with our audience today. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and contact you directly, how could they do that?
Reach me on LinkedIn, and please put in your message that they heard me on your show, so that I can get back to them and make myself available to whatever it is that they need, or if I can answer any questions for them.
That's great. Kathy, thank you so much for coming on the show. And to our audience, please go to ocpowerplayers.com, follow us on your favorite channel, and don't forget to like us.
Thanks for listening to Orange County Power Players. Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at ocpowerplayers.com/guest.